Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. And today we're going to continue talking about some of the things that they've been changing in the NBA that has made the game ridiculous and unbearable to watch. We're going to continue talking about this interview between Kevin Garnett and Adam Silver, a.k.a. Commissioner Baltimore. So before we get into it, let's check out this clip. This clip is a little bit on the longer side. I believe it's close to 2 minutes. But anyway, let's check out this clip, and we'll get into it.
Another conversation I want to talk to you about, but I say this to tee up the playing games, bringing excitement to, or another level of excitement. Me and my assistant was just in the back room, in the war room y'all got back here that looked like the war room or something, but we was talking about how we're excited about the play-in and who's in the play-in. There's only 2 spots, and well, I'm an ex-player, and I'm excited. Talk about some of the other innovative ideas, just like the play-in, and I know the players probably don't like it because there's more games, there's one more thing they got to do, right? But talk about the idea, at least, of some of these unique opportunities with playing games and things that follow suit.
Initially, a lot of the players were against the play-in tournament. What's interesting, and it surprised me a bit, the players ultimately, at least the ones at on the executive committee of the union that we were initially talking to,
Push back
because they were traditionalists in a way that many of our team GMs and other executives weren't, which surprised me a little bit. You might have thought it would have been the opposite, just given their age and everything else. But they're like, no, the playoffs should be determined by the teams with the top 8 records in each conference. I think as we talked more about it, and as you know, a change like that requires approval of the Players Association, so it's done in partnership. And back to data, we started to present some information about why those games would be attractive to fans. And even beyond, I have to admit, this goes to best laid plans, that we didn't predict how much additional interest would be generated in the last month of the season.
Wow.
Because you have teams that want to lock in the 6th or better positions, so they're not in the play-in at all, and don't risk anything.
Yeah.
But then you have teams jockeying for position right up really to the last week of the season to become one of those now top 20 teams to ensure they're the play-in. And it also, we were hoping this would be the case, that you have teams where, let's say there's an injury to a key player early in the season, where now that player, it might have been before the play-in, come February or March, I might as well, at this point, we might as well rebuild as a team. What's the difference if we win, 8 more games or whatever else?
Makes a difference.
But now a team can look and say, hey, we can make a move here. And then if we have our full complement of players come April, we'll be right there. And then we just got to win 4 series.
It's momentum.
It's
momentum at that point.
That's been very effective. And I think that because the play-in seems to be working so far, it's given us permission to talk about some other innovative ideas.
Okay.
One of them.
All right. So as you can hear, Adam Silver is talking about how he thinks that the in-season tournament be good for the fans, how the players wasn't necessarily on board at first, but after he did some explaining, that I guess he was able to win them over, and they're looking at data and statistics and all this stuff, and saying I guess it gives the teams a chance who may be right outside of making the playoffs, I guess more motivation to continue playing hard towards the end of the season. So hopefully this will be a quick video. I know I say that a lot. And a lot of times wind up going on. But we're going to try to keep this short and sweet. Can someone tell me, in what world do you in what world do you try to get someone to work harder by continuously making things easier? In what world do you try to fix something that is fundamentally broken by adding things onto it? I can go a lot of different directions in this. One thing that comes up, a burger, right? A burger, the fundamental part of the hamburger is the meat. Now, if the meat is terrible, you can add 4 pieces of cheese, mayonnaise, lettuce, whatever kind of seasoning you want. If the meat itself is terrible, it's not gonna work. It's still gonna be a terrible burger with a bunch of added stuff to it. Let's take a car. The motor or the engine. If the engine is broken, you can give it a great paint job, throw some rims on it if you're into that, good interior, whatever you like to do to your car to make it most comfortable to you. You can have all the amenities in the car. If the engine is broken, it does not matter. And I think you guys see where I'm going with this. If the players who are the engine of the NBA are broken, how is giving them extra chances to do stuff gonna help the game? If players aren't motivated to play that regular season and put all their effort into it, stop load managing, stop saying certain games are more important than others, play the regular season like every game is important. You're supposed to practice like it's important. If players aren't doing that to begin with, then why do you think them having an extra chance to get into the playoffs is going to help the problem? It just doesn't make any sense. And, it's like a coddled child that you want to, a child that's been coddled all his life, and you think the answer is by coddling them some more, giving them some more cushion and more reasons not to get their stuff together. To me, if you really want to get the fans back into it, if you really want to make these players play, which I'm starting to wonder if they actually want to make these players play. I really feel like the whole NBA from Commissioner Voldemort down is, like I said, a lot of you say this, that it's become more like the WWE than the NBA at this point. It's all about the show. It's not really about working hard and competing. It's starting to become more about a script. But yeah, to me, the obvious answer is you have to stop babying these players. If you really want start tightening up on everything. I wouldn't be opposed to them doing things like if you miss more than 20 games, you can't even play in the playoffs. You as a player cannot play in the playoffs if you miss more than 20 games. I wouldn't be opposed to that unless it was actually a valid injury. But if you load managing, picking and choosing, you don't want to play back-to-backs or whatever it is, well, if you got 20 games, if you miss more than 20, you cannot play in the playoffs. I wouldn't be opposed to them doing stuff like this. Because at this point, again, you have to tighten it up, not keep making it more and more loose, more and more easy for these players in a league that's already easy. So again, like I said, I think there's some other agenda being pushed. Someone said in the comments that they think eventually they're going to try to combine the NBA and the WNBA. That actually would not surprise me, because if you've seen this whole interview, Adam Silver mentions something along those lines. He didn't mention combining leagues, but he said something about I don't know, a woman playing in the NBA or maybe a woman coaching, but it may be something along those lines. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest problem is these players are getting too much money too soon. Like, I really think that is probably the root of it. Michael Jordan said as much in an interview. I think he might have been on Oprah or something, and basically said that this was going to happen, that players get so much money so fast that they don't have any real desire to prove themselves. So, I know a lot of people are really on board with these players making as much money as possible. But again, I feel like, there has to be some kind of other alternative, especially if you're talking about the longevity of the game. Because at the end of the day, like, you may be on board with these players getting as much money as possible, but you also got to ask yourself now, if they run the NBA into the ground and it shuts down the money-making possibilities for future players, then was it all worth just a certain group of players getting as much money as they could possibly suck out of the NBA and suck out of the fans until they run it into the ground, and then then there's no money for anybody else. So I really think, I'm on board with huge contracts. I'm not on board with huge contracts at the very beginning of your career. Like, I really, truly believe that there needs to be, a 5 to 6 year, maybe 7 year period before you can really start clocking the big dollars. And, or maybe that money can be, what am I trying to say? Basically held back until you're eligible to make it. So instead of giving you the big contract at the beginning, like, you only make a percentage of your contract, and once you pass that threshold, it's almost like you get the back pay for that as well. But I feel like they really have to do something to make these players earn the money and not feel like they've made it the minute they get into the NBA. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think about the whole play-in tournament and about some of those teams that's kind of right on the edge of making the playoffs having a chance to make it in? Do you think that's a good thing for the NBA? Because I personally don't. I personally feel like take the regular season serious or suffer the consequences. And at the very least, like I said, I think the bigger picture is, like, quit providing second and third chance opportunities for these players who are not giving it their all from the get-go. It's like, earn your money. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.